Good evening and welcome to Your Call. It's the only show on Indian television where you, the viewer, have a chance to interact directly with our newsmaker of the week. Joining me tonight is a man who's currently a senior BJP leader, but of course who's been finance minister of the country twice in two different governments and also former external affairs minister. Yashwant Sinha joins me. Thank you very much, sir, for coming in tonight.
Welcome. I am delighted to be here.
It's politically been a very interesting week. The government seems to have won what they say is both the numbers and the moral victory. The BJP doesn't agree, but I think even political observers would say that the government has got an extra boost by the fact that they won the vote in both the houses.
I don't know. I was present in the discussion in the Lok Sabha, and I watched briefly the debate in the Rajya Sabha. And my clear view is that it was the opposition which won the debate, because our speakers came out with facts and arguments which could not be matched by the spokespersons of the government. We won, to my mind, a moral victory in the sense that the view of the House got very clearly reflected. And while SP and BSP may have walked out at the time of the vote, they had clearly expressed their view against FDI in retail. And if you look at the NCP, for instance, what did Praful Patel say? He said, don't take a decision without our concurrence in Maharashtra. We'll see what decision we need to take. So the sense of the House was clearly against FDI in retail.
But what it did show, because you mentioned that the speakers and that the government couldn't counter the facts, but in fact, if you remember, we had Kapil Sibal pointing to your speech last week and then saying Yashwant Sinha, as finance minister, had made the point about Kentucky Fried Chicken and how our Indian dhabas could outdo them. I have a question from you on the phone line now from a corporate voice. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw joins us and she has this question for you.
As a former finance minister, Mr. Sinha, I would like to ask you a very basic question. I'm sure you will agree that the current contribution of agriculture to GDP is extremely low. It's at 14%, and yet it accounts for 52% of our employment in the country. This has to change. Jobs have to go from the land and into industry. As the previous NDA government, you yourself had mooted FDI in retail as a very important enabler to make this happen. Why is it that you are now vehemently opposing FDI in retail when we know that this is one of the very important vehicles of really shifting jobs from subsistence farming into labor-intensive industrial jobs, which is far more sustainable? That is really the question I want to ask you.
When we were in government, we did look at FDI in multi-brand retail. There was a group of ministers which was initially headed by me. When I left the Ministry of Finance, my successor minister Yashwant Sinha took it over. And there was a note prepared by the Department of Industrial Promotion on multi-brand retail, which Kapil Sibal was reading out from. But this is the stage at which it remained. There was no decision taken. In fact, the decision taken was that the country was not ready for FDI in retail, and therefore we will not take this matter forward. There was another committee to which N.K. Singh made a reference in the debate in the Rajya Sabha today, which came to the conclusion that considering the nature of the retail trade in India, FDI in retail was not advisable. That was in 2002. And that is the last time that we took a view in this matter and consciously decided that whatever may be the advantages or disadvantages, we would not be in a position to introduce retail in this manner. And let me tell you...
But a decade later, sir, you don't think things have actually changed? You won't give the government the right to believe that things have changed and as a government take that policy decision?
It's not a question, we are expressing a point of view.
You don't feel things have changed in a decade?
I don't think things have changed to that extent. In fact, the things have changed in the retail trade in India, and domestic organized retail has now entered the retail trade, and that is making, its own progress. The point I'm making is, to the first question that Kiran asked, the reply to the first question is, yes, indeed, a very major imbalance is developing in our economy in terms of the number of people who depend on agriculture and the contribution of agriculture to GDP. It's a major, major imbalance, and it will have to be sorted out. But not through FDI in retail, it will have to be sorted out through the expansion of the manufacturing sector, which offers bulk jobs. Not this particular initiative is actually going to disturb the retail trade as organized in India, and it is going to put out of job many, many people who are somehow surviving through these small carts and radies and small shops.
The domestic organized retail hasn't had that impact at all.
No, why? Why? I mean, it's a question that we should ask. And the other question which I'd like to, counter question that I'd like to ask Kiran is this, that for more than a decade, 100% foreign direct investment through the automatic route is permitted in the food processing sector minus liquor, and it is also 100% FDI is permitted in the storage, warehousing sector. The government's target up to 2015 is $25 billion of foreign direct investment. How much have we done so far? We have done less than 1,500 million. Why isn't foreign direct investment coming in the food processing industry? Why isn't it coming in the storage area? Why?
But tell me, sir, from the nuclear deal in UPA 1, and this point is made that NDA flip-flops, that it's all right when you're in government and it's different when you're in opposition. Is it about, how do you answer the charges that it's also about politics of convenience?
I dismiss it absolutely as baseless.
Why on the nuclear deal as well? You had Stoke Talbot make the point with Yashwant Sinha, how much they had made progress on something like this.
I'm sorry to be using harsh language. This is the dirty tricks department of the government, which says you agreed, you wanted the nuclear deal, you couldn't do it, you are now in opposition, therefore you are opposing it. The same thing is being said about the retail. I had gotten up in Lok Sabha yesterday and I said, a note is not a decision. Why are you referring to a note on which note was rejected? We did not take a decision. Now that is being broadcast, and you are thinking that we had agreed to FDI in retail? One. Second, on the nuclear deal, I was the External Affairs Minister for the last 2 years of the NDA regime, and that was the time when we were discussing a nuclear arrangement between India and the US, and I can tell you with all the authority at my command that this was furthest from our thought. What we were discussing was nuclear safety, not a nuclear deal. Now the government, has the government been able to come out even with a kind of note from which they read in Parliament yesterday? Have they on the nuclear deal? It is a complete untruth that was spread about our period.
Do you have the NDTV Profit app? All the markets, all the news and your own homemade, ready-made portfolio available there for you.
We will right now answer what you should sell, what you should buy when markets are down.
Download at ndtvprofit.com/apps. Get the best app from the channel you trust.